Hey, radio listeners, this is Michelle Hyatt.
And this is Carim Hyatt,
host of Marriage in a Minute. Tune in every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. right here on Omega Radio Broadcasting Network for encouraging words on marriage.
And listen, guys, check out our new website, www.marriagevantagepoint.com. And remember, you are the MVP in your marriage.
From this moment.
All right, Omega listeners, it is now time for Marriage in a Minute.
Good afternoon, radio listeners. She's saying hello, I'm saying good afternoon, but it's afternoon, so.
Hello and good afternoon. How about that? It is 3:30 something, and we are back with Marriage in a Minute, and it is such a privilege, man. We had the opportunity to attend a marriage tune-up marriage conference yesterday and this morning. So no basketball for us this morning, no fishing, no outdoor, no nothing. But it was an absolute wonderful experience. If you guys have not attended a marriage conference, we really, really recommend you attending. It's like a tune-up. And you've heard us before that if your car needs a checkup, tune-up, whatever, a little bit of a touch-up, whatever, your hair, ladies, I know you do your little touch-up every so often, 6 weeks, whatever. I'm sporting natural dew, so I don't need that in a little bit. But we know you do that. So if you are married, man, it is a great idea to go ahead and just, of course, there's a little bit of cost involved. I don't know. I'm not recommending any right now. I haven't seen any. I am just saying we really believe it's a great idea for you to just go tune up, just go to a conference, touch base with each other. Things that you haven't spoken about in a years or maybe months, you get to revisit those things in a controlled, wonderful environment.
And one of the things I heard them talk about that it stuck with me is the truth that we, throughout life, we check up on in your job, you do reviews, you check up
performance
on
evaluations, you do those.
But in your marriage,
you don't do that.
Hardly
say, hey, how am I doing? How are we doing? How about that 5-year plan we put together? Where are we at that? Did you abandon this? What's happening? So it's really such a great idea just to revisit, to do a checkup.
Marriage tune-up.
On some of those things that we don't want to abandon anything. And of course, if there are things in your marriage that need to be laid aside or put away, some goals that you're like, man, we've turned away from that, we're not interested anymore, whatever. It's such a great idea to say, hey, let's do this. So it was a great experience, great opportunity for us. Yeah. And we were involved because it was with our church. So we had an opportunity to do a skit last night, and it was really good. So we are so grateful to be, and it keeps us authentic. It keeps us, whatever we're telling you, that's what we are doing. So we know that these things work. So it's a great opportunity for you. So, but anyway, we are here, Marriage in a Minute. Of course, he jumped in, so I didn't have an opportunity to introduce my husband, Carim Hyatt, author of Staying Married.
Jumped in.
See, he just came in at the wrong point. But anyway, today we're doing character assassination of your spouse.
Oh, that sounds kind of like
fighting words. But it is.
But it really is. When you hear what we are going to talk about on this topic, it really feels like you're assassinating your spouse when you do certain things. And the thing about it is, we're not talking about with enemy. We're really talking about it with family. So what we're talking about is if there's something going on at home between you and your spouse, sometimes, most often, all the time, mom and dad and cousins and uncles and your best cousins and whatever. And even friends.
Yeah, but they should be the last person to be chiming in on what's happening at your house. Why? Because there's a natural bias. They love you. They are getting it from your point of view. They are not getting it in an objective way. Everything comes subjective. They are getting it from your point of view. You're crying. You're hurting.
The thing is,
he's eating a piece of candy and he just can't get it the right way to fix on his tongue. Hello, Jamaica. So
yes.
So he's eating. My husband's eating a piece of hard candy, and he was just trying to get. And I'm telling on him because I ate mine before I walked into the studio. So he's eating this candy and he's trying to get it right before he starts speaking, and he's like. Bleh, 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 bleh. So anyway, I told on you.
I apologize, guys, listening out there, but yeah, I had to have this candy to keep me awake. Anyway, so it's a natural bent to turn to family or close friends to talk about your problems in your marriage. And here's the thing, not one marriage is exempt from having problems. But what we have to realize is, and this is a learning thing for all of us, because it's not something that I could look and say, well, nobody ever done that. It's something that is a natural thing. So you have to move beyond the natural when you have problems in your marriage, because think about you going to your mom or your dad and, speaking about the problems and talking about your spouse in a negative way. Remember.
And we're not saying they didn't hurt you. They did.
Right.
Hurt has happened.
Yes.
You need to vent.
Yes.
You got to get it off your heart.
But there's wisdom in venting. There's wisdom in choosing who you vent to. Because remember, you're going to have to bring your spouse to your mom's house. Your brother's house, or
after they know that thing, that
right.
negative thing that they did to you.
So what it's going to create now is an atmosphere of, blame, and they're not going to look at your spouse the same they look at her or him before. It's going to be a natural thing, especially if they're not your mom or your dad or your friend or your cousin or whoever it is not following Christ, because they're not going to be thinking, to give grace or to not judge.
The benefit of the doubt.
Right. So you're hearing one side, they're hearing one side of the story.
Your
and
side.
Just take your side immediately, and that's what usually happens. Now, what happens after you and your spouse have, fixed that problem, made up and move on, and you're happy again? They are not in a position where they're going to do the same thing to your spouse. They're still holding these things.
Grudges. They're holding grudges because, and can you imagine if I say something about like my husband, my O'Neill's mom or something, and he gets so mad, he goes back and he tells her, and now she's got that information. So a week later, whatever, we've gone through it. We sought counsel. We heard about it. We cry about it. We forgive about it. But then mom is still holding that grudge because she finds out that I said she can't cook or something, that would hurt her feelings. Yeah. And now I've got to go to her to ask her for forgiveness when that shouldn't have been, because it should have been held within the walls of our marriage. And it might not even be that simple. It could have been something even more tearing down of the family member, and then you take it because you're so hurt and you love your family. But we've got to come back to the word that says, hey, what? The Bible says you've got to leave and cleave.
Yes.
So there's got to be some boundaries around, and a lot of couples don't talk about it, and you shouldn't even have to. This should be a point where there should be security. There should be guardrails in our marriage that if, you shouldn't be saying anything bad about your in-laws. But you know what? Sometimes it happens if you do, or somebody else outside of these walls. But if you do, it shouldn't be presented to them by one of us. That's so bad.
And one of the things,
but it happens.
It does. It really does sometimes. But we have to just come back to the reality of, guess what? There are great things about your spouse to talk about too. The natural thing, like I said, is, why is it not the natural thing to talk about the great things? Like, I'll go to my mom and I'll say, Michelle is such a great person because of so and so. It's usually
when you're hurt.
When you're hurt,
yeah,
you go to them and say. So we need to switch that. And it's a challenge, because guess what? You have the Lord you could go to and speak to. If you really trust God, you could speak to the Lord about your problems with your spouse.
And when we say we go to the Lord and speak, we mean something happens in your marriage or whatever, you got to pray.
Right, that's what I mean. Praying
because you're hurt. You are so hurt. Yeah. You're angry. And you have to go through these feelings because number one, you're hurt, you're angry. He's angry because I've said something about his mom or whatever the situation might be. And like I said, it might not be that simple. Like I might say, hey, she can't cook, and it's just my opinion. But again, my opinion should be under a security blanket with my husband. So I would not expect him to go. But what if it's something worse? You say something, but you think you have that right and that security to speak about it with each other.
Yeah, and there are neutral people out there who you could speak with. People of God who are neutral, who are not going to take sides. Somebody who doesn't know you both closely.
Right.
And that could be a Christian counselor.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who is not going to immediately take a side. Because, again, it's a natural thing for your family member to take your side. So what we're saying is you need to protect each other.
Yeah.
As opposed to tearing each other. Proverbs 18:21. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. So we need to keep that in mind. Speak life, not death. Because when you go and speak to your family members about your spouse in a bad way, you're really speaking death over your marriage. Because guess what? They're going to, in turn, most of the time, be the ones who the enemy is going to use to keep tearing your marriage down. Because when you get together with your family, they're going to be looking at your spouse with, bad thoughts and
evil
negatives.
eyes.
And that's what usually happens. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but that's what usually happens. So, protecting each other in the marriage is very important. And we're stealing this from the conference today.
We don't steal. We do not. Well,
It's
I
God's
don't
word.
steal. He stole it.
God's word.
I'm
So,
using
yes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're using it.
Yeah.
We're using
So, and the thing about it is, we're talking about the idea that when you present, how I present my husband to my family, he is an extension of me. I am an extension of him. Yeah. So however what if he introduces me without me being there and say, she's not the best person, but I just felt like, I think we need to get into this a little bit more next week because we've got 2 more minutes to go. But think about this for a minute. And the reason why I'm saying this, because I know that this happened personally to somebody that I know. And obviously I'm not going to repeat names, but it hurt her so badly that she found out that he went to her family and goes, she's not the best, but, I feel I should get married at this, whatever. And you say this to your family. Now, this is how your family will be introduced to you without meeting them, that she's not really the best, but I feel desperate at this point, or, I'm at this age where maybe I should get married. Think about how you've presented, how you've already assassinated, cut down, kneecapped your spouse or future spouse going into your in-laws. They will never respect her. Yes. They will never respect her.
Or him.
Or him.
Now, so we're at the end of our program, but we're going to leave you with this one thought.
He's going to leave you because I have no idea what he's going to say. So I have no idea. I have got no clue.
It's just not at the top of her mind right now.
Okay. What are we leaving?
If you're in a position where you have done that, don't feel condemned. Just pick up from this day and remember, going forward, you can stop that. Because we don't want to feel like we're pointing fingers either.
But we've got to point out wrong.
We've got to point out the wrongs, things that are not good for your marriage, because we care about marriages. So the encouragement is,
don't give them give them a little bit of encouragement. But remember, we're going to continue this next week.
Yeah, we are.
So
definitely. Well, anyway, so we're at the end of our program. Thank you guys for listening to Marriage in a Minute. Join us next Saturday, 3:30 p.m. on Omega Radio Broadcasting Network. And again, we'd always remind you of our website, www.marriagevantagepoint.com.
The song just came on right before I was about to talk. And remember, I don't know if you guys remember Sandman Sims, New York, with the old, is it with the Apollo? And when they dance and they're no good, he comes and grab them off. So that... Anyway.
All right, guys.
Anyway, people, wherever you are, Honduras, Florida, North Florida, New York, Jamaica, Marriage in a Minute. 3:30. Check your time zone. 3:30 Saturday in South Florida.
We're really hoping that we're encouraging you guys. Keep us in prayer.
Yeah.
As we, reach out to you guys too. Okay.
So that O'Neill, that he doesn't go say my mom can't cook, and then I go tell my mom. But anyway, tune in next week. We'll have more. This is really a great topic. I love it so much. Yes. So I hope you guys next Saturday call a friend, get together and sit around, and so that you have healthy discussions when we get off the air.
Amen.
Have a great week.
God bless you guys.
All right, you were just tuned into Marriage in a Minute right here. We do hope that you enjoyed today's program and that you'll tune in next week Saturday at the same time of 3:30 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. right here on Omega Radio. We'd like to say thank you so much to the Hyatts for being a proud sponsor towards this radio ministry. Until next week, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
From this moment.
Hey, radio listeners, this is Michelle Hyatt.
And this is Carim Hyatt,
host of Marriage in a Minute. Tune in every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. right here on Omega Radio Broadcasting Network for encouraging words on marriage.
And listen, guys, check out our new website, www.marriagevantagepoint.com. And remember, you are the MVP in your marriage.
From this moment.
I make me reintroduce you to yourself. That song really blesses me. But guess what? Me not gonna do too much talking. Me just kind of did a talk for no come back inside.
All right, Omega Radio listeners, we're getting ready to go into the concert portion of today's outdoor broadcast, where Bishop Manning is live on the scene. So we're going to go ahead and connect there. And as we mentioned earlier, we're getting ready to hear from Rhoda Isabella. So make sure you tune in. Don't go anywhere. Let's go ahead and connect back with them.
So may I expect Wally Panay's. Can I get a hallelujah? Can I get a hallelujah?